Well, I was interested in the subject matter when I watched other people do it on the internet. The particular show that I used to watch, and I still do, is the Atheist Experience out of Austin, Texas. They've been doing this for about 15 years now. They've won several awards for it, and I think it would be great if we could do it here. And when they approached me from the Rationalists of East Tennessee to see if I was interested in helping them do a show like that, I jumped at the chance. We've done one a week for 2.5 years. So I think we've duplicated a few times, but mainly we've covered new material, or at least taken a new tack on the same material, trying to answer to local news or new news items that have come out nationally or locally. I didn't really think it would be that challenging. It's like I was at a position where I really wanted to talk about this and really wanted to engage the public on this particular topic. I was eager and willing to jump into it. Since then, the most challenging part has been working up the graphics, working up the scripts for opening, closing, getting those ready before the show starts. I would almost be willing personally just to say go and then just sit there and talk to the audience, ad-libbing most of it from notes from the previous week's news and the items that are going on in the free thought community at the time. But I think that having a little structure to the show is a good thing, so something we've been working toward. Working up the graphics, making sure that we had good visual cues for the topics that we bring up, making sure that we address some of the topics that are topical in the news. Things that come up every week need to be discussed. They need to be brought to the community's attention, mainly because a lot of the mainstream news don't cover some of these things. Case in point, there was a 15-year-old boy that was executed in front of his parents in Syria this week for blasphemy. This is a direct church-state issue. When the church, who has theoretically control of your mind, gets together with the state, which has control of your body and your freedom, when those two get together and they decide on a certain action, there's really nothing to stop them. If we got into a theocracy here in America, it wouldn't be too long, I believe, before it would devolve into something like that. Awareness, just getting people to think a little bit. Most people go day to day without thinking too much about the decisions that they made as a child. Accepting the things that they are told as truth and not questioning them. The time has come when people really need to start thinking about the answers that they've been given. There's a saying in the atheist community we like to repeat: science has questions that may never be answered, but religion has answers that may never be questioned. We like to get people to think about it a little bit. People we're trying to reach are people who have had thoughts in that direction before. Maybe give them license to think about it a little bit more. The fundamentalists and those who are really pretty far gone, I don't think there's, quite frankly, much hope for them, because they're not going to think. They're just going to keep going and doing what they're doing for the rest of their lives. But the newer generation that is coming up, they're considering these thoughts quite deeply. They're beginning to reconsider the things that they were told growing up. That's the audience we're really trying to get to. And of course, the religious, the fundamentalists, are trying to get after the children. The Sunday school, trying to get Bible passed out in schools locally. We've seen that happen in 2 or 3 local elementary schools and secondary schools. That can't be allowed to happen. We challenge that as an organization, as a community, whenever we see it. We do get feedback live on the air. We answer as many questions as we possibly can, at least give them feedback on the topics that they bring up and the comments that they make. Since it's a live call-in show, our response can be pretty immediate. That was one of the things that I wanted to duplicate from the Atheist Experience out of Austin, Texas, that they do directly address the questions as they come up on air, live, and it works pretty well. Now, we do occasionally get emails and phone calls after hours, but really not that many. The people that I talk to, of course, are the people in our groups. I haven't heard much from the outside of the group. I don't get much response other than the community itself. We don't get many people coming up to us in religious mode saying, you know, it's a great show or even terrible show. We've actually had people walk into our studio prior to the show and say, I don't agree with what you're doing, but I agree you have the right to do it, which is fine as long as they're granting us rights. The thing about it is it's not really theirs to grant. The Constitution grants us the right to free speech, and we're satisfied with that. Go forward. Well, I guess most programs are there for entertainment. Ours aren't. Ours want you to interact. We want you to consider the ideas that we put forward. We want your feedback. We want you to take what we say to heart, consider them, and go forward now. If you disagree with us, at least think about it. And that's the one thing that we're trying to get our audience to do. Well, one that comes to mind was one we did in this studio, which is the larger one, which allowed us to have 4 or 5 people in front of the camera, where we did a flying spaghetti monster show. Now, the flying spaghetti monster is a creation of a freethinker who wanted to challenge the creationism that's being offered in school or demanded by a lot of people or on a lot of fronts to be taught in school along with evolution. And the person who put forward the flying spaghetti monster did it in tongue-in-cheek, in jest, but it made the point that there's just as much evidence for a flying spaghetti monster creation story as there is for a regular God creation story. You can make up a book, you can make up literature and stories, you can make up a backstory, myths to create that, which we believe, of course, is the same thing as being done by Jehovah and any other God on the planet. Of course, you're talking about the God of Christianity when you're talking American public education, but in any other country in the world, they would, of course, put forward their God and say it was their God created it, created the world and should be taught in school. But the show itself was interesting because Flying Spaghetti Monster has a pirate theme, and we dressed up as pirates, and we had a script to go along with it, and it was very interesting. I've got a website called digitalfreethought.com. On the site I have a lot of resources that are available on the internet that people may or may not know about. I have one page that scrolls forever. I'm sorry about the load times, but I must have 50, 60, 70 different links on it to go places that will help you coming out of religion, whether it's Jehovah's Witness or Islam, just about any religion you can think of, Christianity, of course. There are others that reference books that you might find interesting to read. Articles from the Constitution. Tennessee is one of the few states, there's like 9 of them, that has it in their Constitution that if you do not believe in God, you can't run for public office. So I like to bring that out. And I have an awful lot of free thought quotes on there. Something else that I've been doing recently, well, for the last several years, is creating YouTube videos on this subject. Some of them are animated, some of them are not, but I recommend people go there and look at them. I'm just trying to spread awareness. Well, we have meetups every week. The Atheist Society of Knoxville meets every Tuesday down at Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria right after the show. When new people come in, of course, we advertise that through MetroPulse and trying to get in Daily Beacon and other places, just posting things up on the bulletin boards. When they come in, of course, we tell them about the show. The Atheist Society of Knoxville is a meetup from meetup.com, and whenever somebody joins the meetup there, I advertise the show to them in a welcome email type of thing with a lot of other information.
Available. Now, if you're a Muslim, you'll take out a different policy.
Right.
And if you're a Hindu, you'll take another policy.
Right.
And if you're a Christian, and if you're a Church of Christ, most of the Baptists